Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Podfathers, the best parenting podcast in the universe. It's your pal Clem here. We got Large and Dirty Jersey, Chaps down in Texas, and we got Nikki the Good and that motherfucker Joey Lane going all online with us. It's one big happy pod family. And this is the problem with our podcast. It's once a week. We usually record on Tuesdays. So by the time we get to the podcast going live, any news from the weekend is a little stale and old. And this story has been beaten into the ground, but I think we're contractually obligated to mention it on every single product that Barstool owns. I feel like the Podfathers do have a specific twist to the Will Smith versus Chris Rock, Jada Pinkett, the whole Smith family, the cuck situation, all the fucking crazy nonsense that's been going on with it. So I figured we'd bring it up here and we just kind of go through it. Obviously, everyone knows the slap heard around the world. Chris Rock making the G.I. Jane joke, little bit of fucking stolen valor there, throwing her in as a fake G.I. Jane. We can get into that on ZBT. But fellas, what were your, actually, let me say this one first. Who here was awake for when that went down? Because I was counting Z's for about 2 hours by that time.
I was awake.
You guys were awake. Shit. All right. So Chapsy, what was your initial thoughts when it all went down?
At first, I couldn't believe, like when I first saw it, I wasn't watching the Oscars, but whenever the tweets started to roll, like, what? It's those moments where Twitter becomes like the jackpot, how you pull the slot and all of a sudden it's just jackpot over and over again. It's like when you see like 4 or 5, what all in capital letters come across at one time. It's almost like as an internet person, you sit up, you're like, oh shit, what's about to go down? Because you never know. I mean, there was wrestling stuff that was happening on the timeline. There was fucking basketball that was going down. I think golf was still like something crazy happened in golf. We got Ukraine going on. Next thing you know, a bunch of what's come across. And I'm just like, oh shit, here we go. And then I was just waiting and waiting and waiting for the first time that it came across. And I thought, there's no shot that just happened. Like there's no shot it's real. But then when the Japanese and Australian versions of it came out, I was immediately sold on Team Real, like instantly. I don't care who you are. You could be Daniel Day-Lewis. You can be fucking Cary Grant. You could be anybody. No one can act as well as Will Smith did when he said, keep my wife's fucking name out of your mouth. Behind that was some real damn rage. I knew when you hear that voice crack, when you know if you yell just a little bit louder, it's going to switch from screaming to crying in like a second. He was at the verge of that. I knew it was real.
Yep. And I woken up around 3 a.m. and I just kind of glanced at the phone. I always check my phone just to make sure like some crazy trade or some sports news didn't happen in the middle of the night that I have to go on. It's just, this job has broken my brain like that.
That happened to me when Nancy Reagan was the throat goat. When that came out, I missed that whole thing.
Missed that whole thing. And that's one of those moments
I'll never recover.
Yeah, that's a fleeting moment that is a special part of internet history. Dragonfly Jones, he was like, I had his tweets just at the top of my page. It must have been retweeted, or he might have just been going live at that point still. And he's like my favorite guy. The way he covers everything is absolutely hilarious. And I was like, man, I missed again, when Twitter was at its golden age. And then I'm scrolling and I'm starting to see all the, well, actually, and everyone getting offended, saying toxic.
I didn't expect the big man to be on that. I didn't expect it.
I'm shocked.
Large was triggered.
Oh, so Large, were you on live time? Were you on live time reacting to everything?
I was watching it live. I was ironing. Like I had a suit all packed up for Kanz's wedding and I didn't wear it. And so I still had it packed in one of those like square packing things, with the board and stuff. And I needed to wear it for a shoot yesterday. So I was ironing it that night in front of the TV. And as I put on the Academy Awards, I was kind of off and on them. I thought the host did an awful job up until that point. So I couldn't even watch it. I wasn't really invested in the movies. So I kind of was going back and forth. Then I put it on. It says, we're hitting the last hour. So I was like, you know what? Fuck it. I'm just going to concentrate. I'm going to leave it. I threw the thing down. And so I got to watch it real time. Annie's sitting on the couch, me ironing, very, very domesticated. And the same thing. Like I was waiting for the confirming tick because I didn't want to be that thing. Yep. And I like to throw out as many dad jokes as possible during it. Like as soon as that shit happens, I love to just keep on peppering them. You know what I mean? Like I'm obsessed with doing it. So I mean, selfishly, I loved it. But in the last time that Annie and I had caught that, she was iron. We don't iron that much, right? Like it's just like dry cleaners and stuff like that. She was ironing a couple of years ago. You know, you bring out the ironing board in the living room. I was sitting down watching TV, and we were watching the Miss America pageant where the guy fucked up. Do you remember where the dude from Family Feud had announced that the
that was a great moment too. That was a great moment.
Every time we take out the fucking ironing board, something magical happens on TV.
The ironing board is your family's Nick Castellanos.
I was gonna say the same thing.
And it's wild because when that happened, I said, "Oh my God, this is a seminal moment." And then the same thing with this, and obviously everything exploded. So I was just trying to. Everything. I was like, how do you think the deaf people feel about what just went on? Like, they must have been so fucking confused. You know what I mean? Somebody smacked Liza Minnelli.
Well, they're used to people talking with their hands, so it probably wasn't an issue.
Exactly. Right. And this wasn't clapping. This was them keeping their guard up because they were fucking next. So yeah, first of all, I think it's disgraceful. I think, I don't think this thing is beat up enough. Like, honestly, I think this should still be, you had mentioned today, oh, it's ancient history. Somebody had mentioned it to me like less than a day later. They're like, "Are you done talking about this?" I'm like, "I am nowhere near done talking about this. I tape Twisted tomorrow."
I don't like how fast the cycles are either, Lodge. You're absolutely right. This should last 2 weeks. In 1845, when you're heading out west, Will Smith smacked somebody before getting jiggy with it. You talk about that shit for months at a time. Now, if you talk about it for 2 days, you're late. Please, this is big news.
This is the Flemish cap. This is the perfect storm. The biggest actor in the world, arguably, against the greatest comedian in the world, arguably. There's an argument for both of those things. In one of the most watched television events of the year, probably inarguably, and an assault happens, right? And then that actor wins the fucking biggest award in Hollywood. 20 minutes later, has to go up and put this hypocritical crocodile tear bullshit on. I mean, we'll never see the likes of that again. That isn't staged. And believe me, I picked it apart like the fucking Zapruder film. I had a long conversation with Alex's mom yesterday, Content Kim, who seems to be convinced that the whole thing was staged.
No one acts that well. No one acts, and no one can. Chris Rock does not have that in his fucking bag to act that well of getting slapped. He doesn't have it.
Why would he? Like, why would Chris Rock allow his wife or ex-wife, I think he got caught cheating maybe last year. Why would he allow his ex-wife and kids watch him get the shit slapped out of him by fucking Will Smith?
I read a thread about it, Large. I read a reason why. There's a guy who studies Scientology, and it's long been rumored that Will Smith.
I know
that they're both in it. And in Scientology, if you're a higher ranking person in Scientology, they suggest that you slap somebody. And that it wasn't a punch, it was a slap, like a public rebuke. And so people in the Scientology circles that know that are like, this was a public rebuking of Chris Rock from a Scientology, like that's not something that you are allowed to do. And that's the reason why Will Smith wasn't concerned about getting charges pressed or anything like that, because he knows that Chris Rock won't do it because of the Scientology thing.
So I went down that fucking rabbit hole. So they slap or they yell. Tom Cruise yells. That's what Tom Cruise does. So
and jumps on couches.
If you don't slap or yell, someone higher up the food chain in Scientology then has the right to slap you.
That's exactly
the only thing is like Will and Jada donated over $1 million to a school in 2008. I think the school ran from 2011 to 2013, and they had L. Ron Hubbard in the fucking curriculum. Wasn't a Scientology school per se. Then that had folded after 2013, and they haven't been practicing Scientologists since 2015. Jada, always the more serious Scientologist than Will Smith. So there's like a tenuous thing that's after the last 6 years that's still like ingrained in their brain. But even so, ignorance of the law or perhaps religious practices does not fucking overstep the fact that he assaulted somebody. And if I was Chris Rock, I would not have handled it as well, because I would have cried. Like, you know what I mean? Like perhaps I would have gotten emotional. But so please take this with a grain of salt, because I think Chris Rock took the high road. I can't wait for his next stand-up. However, if Chris Rock was just to say, I'm not going on, like the guy just assaulted me, like that was real, and I think he might do it again. Can I get secure? I need to get this fucking guy out of here. The no tolerance towards violence with all these pretentious Hollywood cunts in the audience too, like with the no violence thing. Like, honestly, I would have fucking stopped the show. He was disruptive, like with the cursing and all that shit. Anybody else would have been, not anybody else, but let's say 10 people. Like, who gets away with that other than Will Smith? Leo? Probably.
I don't know. I don't even know if Leo does. I think you might be, because there was a time, we talked a little bit about it on ZBT, but there was a time Will Smith was the biggest star on earth. Like
100%.
Nobody was bigger than him. And like we talked, first of all, I don't think Chris Rock is in the same stratosphere as far as fame as Will Smith is, like not in the same light. So I think that played a part in it as well. Chris Rock, man, I don't know what you do to go on there, like what he could possibly have done with all those eyes on, and he doesn't want to make it, because you also don't want to make it seem like you're a little bitch. Like if he's up there and he gets slapped in the face, he didn't get knocked out, he didn't get anything like that. So he's standing there like, what the fuck do I do? I think he was put in an impossible position.
Chris Rock is worth somewhere between $60 to $100 million. Like Chris Rock isn't Francis Ellis. I mean, I know like Kevin Hart is worth $200 million, right? So like there's a stratosphere for actor comedians, but Chris Rock is extremely well respected. He's got a ton of dough. He's incredibly intelligent. He's obviously quick on his feet, the whole deal. I don't know. What's that?
He's from Brooklyn, like you say.
Yeah,
That's why you're the glowing Chris Rock review. It all makes sense now.
I don't know if anyone gets away with it other than Will Smith. I can't think about it. And by the way, this is without any kind of racial thing coming in. People jump to that right away, the black on black crowd. I'm not saying anything like that, but I don't know who gets away with that like Will Smith, and I don't know who handles it as well as Chris Rock.
Because like you could say The Rock would, maybe The Rock, but he's too big. Like if he put his hands on somebody, everybody'd be terrified.
Yeah, he'd snap a neck. Like I think if somebody made an aggressive move towards Jerry Seinfeld, if The Rock, Dwayne Johnson, smacked Jerry Seinfeld, there's a good chance that Jerry Seinfeld's on the next in memoriam. By the way, they left out Saget. They left out Ed Asner.
Yeah.
They left out Lonnie Anderson. What the fuck's going on? What the fuck's going on in this world? This is fucking infuriating. This is the biggest thing that's happened to me since the Whitman sampler, and that wound up working out.
Take the ironing board back out. If they don't think right, you're going to take the ironing board back out and cause some kind of craziness to happen.
Yeah. Anyway, I found it to be wildly entertaining, and I really hope first of all, I hope that this ruins Will Smith. I
don't at all. I kind of like the slap, honestly. Like from the perspective of. This is how I view. This is how I think it went down. Will and Jada have had so many conversations over their marriage where Will doesn't stick up for Jada. I think that is a theme in their wedding or in their marriage, where it seems like he doesn't stick up for her and he wants her to. They've had fights about that a bunch. So when he originally laughed at the joke that Chris Rock had, looked over, saw her face being disappointed and looking over at him, I think it was in his brain. It was like, this is another one of those moments where if I don't stick up for her, she's going to be fucking pissed. So he stands up, he does it and comes back. And then he's like, she's not going to have that in her arsenal that I didn't stick up for her. And now he never has to do it ever again because he could just point back. Remember the time I slapped the shit out of Chris Rock at the Oscars?
Chaps, doesn't the fact that he didn't overreact to the fact that she's balls deep in some fucking young actor give him a lifelong, get out of jail card? Like, I don't, if Will
But he
Smith,
could be trying to earn that respect back, right? Like,
so yell, keep my wife's name out of your mouth. And then when you get up and say your speech, you say, listen, I just want to say, I just yelled. I think that what Chris Rock did, he took the low road. He knows about this. And I think, that shame on him. Like I think that would have turned Rock into a villain, because people would be wearing alopecia fucking ribbons for the rest of the fucking year. So I
don't think so. I think it's split down the middle. It would
No.
be like the rest of the stuff in the United States. Absolutely, it would. If you had something, Will Smith goes up there and he's talking to the audience and saying that, there would be there would be Millmore would have a absolute blizzard of Will Smith snowflakes falling from the sky.
I think that politics, I think that race, I think that age sometimes skews these things. But I think the fact, same race, same age, so it wasn't like one generation attacking another. The politics of either of them, I don't think are out there.
Too, yeah.
Yeah, so I honestly think that this is one of those lightning in a jar moments where people can take a side. And I'm not comfortable saying 70-30, but I think it's 65-35 Rock. I think that, and I think the fact that Chris Rock is not taking advantage of that in this day and age where you can't.
Scientology, he can't.
I hear you. I honestly think that, well, so allegedly they're out of the Scientology thing. But so we'll say the Scientology caveat, maybe. But otherwise, the fact that Chris Rock, I'm going to talk about this exactly like this on fucking Twisted History. The fact that Chris Rock, I'm about to say I can't maintain an erection since I've seen it happen. I'm going to try to fucking sue Will Smith. The fact that Chris Rock doesn't have a neck brace on and say he's afraid to get on stage because somebody else other than Will Smith, anybody in the fucking world is going to jump up and assault him. And it's taking away. Chris Rock gets paid $20 million every time he burps. He could get $100 million off of fucking Will Smith, and I think it would make him a fucking internet hero. I don't think
so at all. I think that people would look at him as a little bitch that got slapped, didn't do anything, and then sued. I think it would be like
$100 million. I think he'd be a genius.
And I'm not one who ascribes to typical masculinity and like you need all that things, but you would look like an absolute puss if you got slapped on national TV while you're hosting the Oscars, didn't say shit and like, but I'm done, dude. I'm done. If that makes you a pussy, call me Jenna Jameson because I would be first in line. Right?
Yeah, like, I mean, he's not getting punished. Will Smith
gets slapped by Will Smith. I am driving to his house and being like, me and you are suing the shit out of Will Smith.
Right.
And he's doing the same thing if I get slapped. He's driving down here and we're going to court together. But if I already have $60 million.
Bottom, you probably have more. I'm saying that particularly with the comedian community, like Tiffany Haddish was the only one that I saw step up for Will Smith. But every comedian who wants to bust balls, he would be a folk hero as the guy who extracted $100 million out of Will Smith when nobody else gave him anything more than a slap on the wrist. And he hasn't received a slap on the wrist. He had Denzel Washington rubbing his fucking back. So I mean, and you're probably right, but from my perspective, I would sue the fuck out of him if I was Chris Rock. And if it was me, you know what I mean? Like, obviously, any ambulance shit, I'd have multiple lawyers on this already. And you know what? I rebuke this motherfucker.
Wow.
I honestly can't see myself going to another Will Smith movie. I don't need more of a reason to, because I think most of his movies are fucking trash. But I will tell you right now, I am firmly Chris Rock. I'm firmly Team Rock. That's the side that I'm taking. And Will Smith can eat a dick. And so can his fucking wife, who, by the way, looks fantastic with a shaved head.
Maybe the most attractive bald woman in the history of the world.
100%. And
like
she
a modern
knows
Cleopatra. Like just absolutely stunning.
Sinead O'Connor was a stunning bald woman when she was young. Like, remember, she was just, and plus she was Irish, whatever. But I think that Jada Pinkett Smith is
the Cranberries woman was bald too, wasn't she?
Dolores O'Riordan, perhaps.
Yes.
Jane. I thought fucking Demi Moore.
That's what I always say. Celebrity look-alike. My wife looks like a young Demi Moore.
Nice. It's a good option to have.
Mm-hmm.
It's a good option to have.
That's
my wife looks like a young Roger Moore. That's not.
You're about to get rebuked on that.
Trouble.
Oh yeah.
In trouble.
I just changed the tire, by the way.
Did you? Nice.
Yeah. We can talk about that if you want.
Do you think that Will Smith got a little bit of wiggle room? Like you're saying, like if certain celebrities who did this, who didn't do this, and who they did it to. Again, if you had told someone back in the 90s, hey, the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, he's going to win an Oscar for Best Actor, and that is going to be overshadowed because he assaulted Chris Rock, who was in the 90s. It's fucking craziness.
I know another celebrity that could get away with it.
Who?
Hezbollah.
He throws haymakers.
Yeah, he gets away with it every day.
Unapologetic.
Yeah. Uh-huh. completely. So then
and Will Smith. That's it. That's the list.
Hey, you're 100% right. And I wouldn't sue that little fucking.
He's rich too. He doesn't even bat an eye at getting rid of a Nintendo Switch. That's how you know you're wealthy.
And Nick just wrote in the chat here. Chris Rock went to PS 277 right around the corner from Large and I. So again, take all this with a little bit of Crooklyn home cooking. Will Smith. He also had the apology. Now, what did we think about the apology on Instagram?
The apology stunk out loud.
It was so
like
bad.
that's the if you're gonna do that, just be like, hey, I snapped. I don't apologize for it. Don't talk shit about my wife. If Will Smith doubles down, he might be president. Honestly, like if he says you're not going to talk shit about my wife, I'm not Ted Cruz, he gets elected president next time.
You're not wrong. You're fucking not wrong. And I'll tell you what, when he goes up there and says he wants to be, what do you say, like an instrument of peace or love or something?
Yeah,
in his
vessel of peace.
A vessel of, yeah, vessel of peace. I mean,
love.
I'm like, we don't
talking about pussy.
Like this doesn't right. This doesn't fucking like everybody in the crowd doesn't laugh out loud at that. Like I was like, vessel of love.
You just slapped the guy, brother. That's assault.
No, and everyone is just fucking everybody. And by the way, somebody had said you're missing the forest for the trees. Look at the crowd, and it was even more interesting to see like Jake Gyllenhaal's like, what the fuck, Nicole Kidman's clutching her pearls, and like all these people who were reacting to it, and then they were the same people that gave Roman Polanski a fucking who sodomized the 13-year-old girl. They gave him a fucking standing O. So that's the price deck that we're working from. So I don't know why I would expect more, but Jesus Christ, it consistently disappoints. And bring back Ricky Gervais.
If Ricky Gervais was there, next time Ricky Gervais and Will Smith are in the same room, he's got to powerbomb him just right there on the stage. Because Ricky Gervais, if he goes to someplace that Will Smith is at, Will Smith is fucking cooked.
Oh, yeah, that's a problem. That's a fucking problem.
I think he should just Ricky Gervais just looks out into the audience, sees Will Smith, and just starts directing security where to go, like all of his avenues of approach.
I did like in the apology though, when he ended it with "I am a work in progress." I feel like that's like an attempted get out of jail free card. It's like, I'm a work out of progress. What can I do? I feel like that's like anyone could just throw that out there, and it's like, oh come on, guys, he's a work in progress here. It's such a schmuck line to use, but it's like it's untouchable. It's Teflon. There's guys actively banging his wife, and he has nothing to say. He's never thrown a punch. He's never thrown a carrot seed on their fucking front lawn. Mm-hmm. Honestly, there's guys actively banging the fucking shit out of her, clapping those cheeks. Somebody says something about the alopecia thing, which was the most benign joke in the world. And again, she is a gorgeous, gorgeous bald woman. And I know that doesn't tell you what's inside her head. Perhaps she's, fighting some demons with the whole thing, and it feels, like this is a brave thing. She doesn't need that on a play. And he gets up and he smacks in the middle of fucking Oscars, and then can't control himself with the language. And this is me talking, right? I curse in church, but this fucking guy, I don't know. Maybe I just hold these people to bigger. The Williams sisters had to be fucking.
Taking it back about how much Large hates this. I'm legitimately shocked that
I fucking hate this.
It's just I do. Like I understand.
100%.
I fully if Chris Rock is laying there unconscious on the Oscars table, 100%. I feel like it's a totally different conversation, even if he's bleeding. But this slap, like I feel like it's a slap. Like
like Coley said Coley wrote a excellent blog about how people are overreacting to it. And I 100% disagree with every fucking word that he wrote. He also went out against Judd Apatow. Judd Apatow had said Chris Rock could have been killed. And Coley's like, we're talking about a slap here. I 100% disagree with Coley. I think that this fucking thing is what. First of all, I've never seen a televised assault like that since there was an attempt on a president's life. Like on that type of, like you never, or maybe when the Pope was shot.
Steffi
like
Graf.
You've never seen that many eyes. With that many people watching Steffi Graf, with that many people watching the Tonya Harding, Nancy Kerrigan thing, with that many people, like people weren't necessarily watching. All eyes were on this. He did it on the biggest fucking stage possible. And if you fuck up on the biggest stage, if he did it at a Knights of Columbus, I don't give a shit. He did it on the biggest fucking stage possible. He's an embarrassment to his family. And the way his son had tweeted out, that's the way we do things. He's a fucking embarrassment to his family. Absolutely. This guy is a fucking pariah. I am done with Will Smith. He can eat dicks for the rest of his life.
And
I will never see
watched
Will Smith.
Independence
And I
Day
loved I Am
and
Legend.
Men in Black yesterday.
No, did you really? Yeah, solid films. I don't know.
Yeah,
what
they're
I'm saying.
very good.
That's what everyone says too. Like if Will Smith had said "Welcome to Earth" after he did the slap, stuff like that. And that's the other thing. We go
They
back.
should
to
have
the
tossed
internet.
him like Jazzy Jeff off the stage.
All the
The
memes
first-
that came out of it were
Wow.
just tremendous. It was a glorious internet day, and it's going to be a glorious internet week. I've largely
The first Bad Boys movie. That was
Would have been
fucking
better
slapper.
with Chris Rock though.
Yeah. I can't wait for Rock. I can't. I really hope he goes at him. I hope he just fucking. It'll be like Chris Rock could step on a stage now and get 10 minutes of applause.
You know
I
what?
would
You
think.
know what they should do? Comedy Central should throw like $20 million at Chris Rock to get
100%.
roasted, to do the roast, to have like the best roasters come and just absolutely eviscerate Chris Rock. And then at
100%.
the end, he's like, and I didn't feel like I needed to slap anybody.
Yeah, 100%. Netflix, give him $100 million. I want to see. That hasn't happened yet, right? We're taping on Tuesday. I haven't seen any response from Chris Rock.
No, not yet.
No, okay. I got my eyes peeled.
I thought I saw
Other
something
big
from him.
news that was absolutely shocking. I know that down here, the weather has been 85, 86 degrees, constantly warm. Up there, I saw that this earlier this week, it was like 25, 26 degrees,
25. Oh,
which
such a
is
kick in the dick.
insane. I don't
20.
think most people realize the amount of money Stu Feiner is using to heat his his pool to 88 degrees. That's the only thing I think about when I see him out there in his big ass pool and he's like 88 degrees when it's 25 degrees outside. That must be a $2,000 bill that month. Has to be.
I made $44 million in my life, but I spent 45. I mean, that's exactly the way that guy rolls. Probably one of the most generous guys that I've ever met in my life. He's got this party coming up at his house. I'm going just because I would like to steal something. And I love Stu. I love his wife. I love it. I think his son is fucking fantastic. I love everything about that guy. He's just an absolute X factor. He's like, bring your kids. I'm like, so yeah, he's off the reservation. And I think Alex Bennett and her mom had interviewed him and they were like, what questions should I ask him? I was like, Alex, you just have to say hello and fucking Stu will go for 45 minutes.
Mhm.
He's the easiest guy in the world. He's,
Explaining to Kim content what 15, 15, 30
yes,
was.
yes.
It's just when I
Well,
look at that's not a
you
woman
guys-
who's dabbled in 15, 15, 30 in her day. Maybe she has, but what I imagine that's the first time she's been in a room with somebody like Stu well, there's not many. It's just Stu, and that's the list essentially.
Whole fucking office was filled with flowers because the weekend after he had ranked the top 10 girls in the office,
Oh, God.
he sent 50 flower arrangements to everybody in every girl in the office.
How many?
I think 50 vased flower arrangements, beautiful flower arrangements. It smelled like the fucking
It must have dropped
a
like
flower
10
shop.
grand.
Absolutely, he did 100%. Just sent it to everybody, and like nobody took them home. They're like some of these girls are like, I don't,
Yeah,
whatever.
I thought it was funny that Walker was like, I'm gonna cross the names out, put my wife and daughter's name on her.
That was great.
So Ebony was
He
sitting at
gave
the
one to
front-
Charlotte Flair. He gave one to Charlotte Flair when we interviewed her.
So Ebony's sitting at the front desk with 30 left behind her. You know what I mean? Like she was in a Johnny Depp movie. So the guy is an absolute X factor.
And that's the thing about Stu, ready to roll, right? Always ready to roll. If you're looking for an energy boost, and you don't have that Stu Feiner blood pumping through you, you got to get yourself some Super Speciosa. That's right, Super Specio. That's what I said. It has only one ingredient: pure kratom leaf. Kratom is an all-natural herb related to coffee plant that has been used in Thailand for centuries. Thailand, that's a place I want to get my herbs from. Just feels like a good place, Large. Have you ever been to Thailand, Large?
Many a time. Yeah. I have
Many a
family
time.
there. Yes.
Kratom helps energize your mind and relax your body. All of Super Speciosas, my New York accent sounds so bad. All Super Speciosas batches come with certified lab results, so you know exactly what you're getting. Extra boost of energy in the morning. So if you don't want to do your coffee, you can use that. Wind down and relax after work. Pre-workout in smaller servings or post-workout recovery. And for beginners, they recommend capsules because they're easy to use. Or try the best-selling Green MD strain. We're going to send this to Large. We're going to get it because he's not a coffee guy, Large. He's a tea guy, and he's going to become a kratom guy. So
I have it.
You have it?
Yeah, they were in the office, and a girl had come out. She's like, "You still around?" I said, "Yeah." And she sent it down to me. So she gave me the pills and the powder, and she said, "Start with the pills." So I took 2 pills. It's different. It's different from one of our other sponsors, but I like it. I think I like it. I'm going to do it again. I'm traveling next week, so I'm going to do it again when I don't have to operate any heavy machinery. I need to get a little bit more into it. But again, the tablets, 2 tablets, and I think what it's supposed to be is almost like a natural opiate. Like, not that opiates are unnatural, but it's like an alternative to an opiate. So I know PFT took it when he had COVID, almost like a pain reliever. I know some people take it as a pre-workout routine. So it seems like it does just about everything for everybody. Yeah. So I've been just kind of screwing around with it, and I'll continue to screw around with it. But so far, it's been all positive with this stuff. So kratom, I was calling it kratom for a long time, but it's kratom. But you got to go to superleaf.com. Superleaf.com. You can use the code Podfather, get 20% off with the promo code Podfather. That's superleaf.com. Oh, I'm sorry, superleaf.com/Podfather, and then use the promo code Podfather, get 20% off all of their stuff. So you can get the powders. I recommend the tablets, and they have a whole bunch of different strains of this stuff, strains from this leaf, and then just kind of mash it into a powder form, and it's good. It gives you some energy. It sometimes gives you a little bit of a relaxing effect. And then at the post-workout or pre-workout thing, I'll never really experience. So, but yeah, just give it a whirl. It's pretty cool.
Get superleaf.com/Podfather, 20% off. Speaking of workouts, I just recently joined a gym trying to get rid of all this COVID weight that I had now that we're thawing out of it. And I saw my boy Chapsy is member of his local tennis club now, playing a little bit.
I was like, did I sign up for a gym that I didn't know about? I'm very relieved to find out that I didn't. Yeah, so there's like this tennis complex that's at the end of our neighborhood, and we decided to join it because it has like a basketball hoop. McCartney has been missing playing basketball, and like a group of kids play down there too. So we went over there. Pickleball, remarkably easy when you're super out of shape. Like, you don't have to move around a whole lot. My wife has awful hand-eye coordination. Like, no one would ever mistake her for being an athlete. Like, she can run and exercise well, but as far as like hand-eye coordination with any type of ball, she's not great at it. But we were out there playing pickleball, and she loved it. And it's easy enough where if you're not keeping score and really trying to get after it, everybody could just volley it back and forth. And they have a huge tennis wall with like the white line that represents the net there. And I hadn't played tennis since I was on the tennis team in high school, and going out there, I just had a good time. It was fun.
Yeah, pickleball is like the fucking sport of the future, man. When I went to the gym, they were giving tours, and they were saying like, oh, they just were filling my mind with how great pickleball is. It's the biggest thing, yada, yada, yada. And then every day I've gone there, people have been playing pickleball. It's fucking, it was around when I was in high school. And like people enjoyed it, but it's apparently like it's like blowing up now, because all the way down in the great state of Texas, it's going crazy too.
Bunch of TikToks. Get into pickleball TikTok.
Oh, there we go.
You'll see some moves.
Look no further.
Moves, yeah.
So staying on the pickleball line, I had to throw this story in there because I saw it get blogged.
But wait, I need to say one more thing about pickleball, our escapades. Saddest I've seen McCartney in years, probably, pickleball, because McCartney constantly wants everybody to do sports together, like our family to do sports together, because McCartney is obsessed with just playing and doing things like that. We go out there to play. Me and Mom are playing. I'll usually play some sports, like we'll do basketball in the pool, or we'll go down to the basketball court and shoot together. But Mom doesn't usually participate in that. Mom was down playing pickleball. Like the second time Rosie swung, their hand started to hurt. They like sprained their wrist, And you could
Oh,
tell because
no.
McCartney's like sitting on the side and just starts like essentially like weeping. And I'm like, what's wrong? Like, you never cry like this. They're like, I'm so mad at myself. The family never plays sports together. And the one time that we do, I get hurt and I can't play. This is the worst. I'm like, well, it's like 500 feet from our front door, babe. Like, we could go down and play again. They're like, it's not the same. It was, and I could totally picture myself, because those moments when everybody in your family are playing are just so rare. And to be the kid who always wants that to happen and then you can't play, it would have sucked, man. Sucked.
To hurt your pickleball wrist right as it's getting hot in the fan. That is an absolutely brutal beat. We just we've been playing every so often Mario Kart. They just added some new tracks, and like probably once a week we'll get like family time where we all play like a circuit, 4 races or so. And AJ goes, the entire family is playing. It blows his mind as if there's like 100 people playing. It's just the 4 of us who have been locked in this house together
squad.
for 2 straight years. And yeah, it's such a special thing for kids. This is probably, that's some of the memories they'll have growing up. So hopefully Cardi gets their wrist. Is it bad or is
it's
Cardi
fine? I think it'll be okay. But we also had another catastrophic event. My kid is 9, the older one's 16. So bedtime issues have been out the window for a long time. Like Cardi just goes to, that's the one thing that McCartney really listens to is it's time to go to bed. It's the only thing they don't really have. We have conversations about is bedtime because they know that there's no like going back and forth on that. Well, Monday, wifey was out of town. She's in Phoenix doing a conference. And so I wake up at 6:30 to get the kids ready. I see on my phone from like 6:15, McCartney had texted me, Dad, I threw up last night, but just texted me. And I was like, this is weird. So I go out into the living room. McCartney's already sitting on the couch. I'm like, well, where's the throw up? And they're like, oh, I threw up in the toilet. And I'm like, oh, sweet. So I don't have to clean anything up. I was glad about that. And I said, what time did you get up? Why are you up here so early? And I've been up for a little while. I checked our cameras. Fucking 3 o'clock in the morning. I see the light flip on in the living room. McCartney gets onto a mega couch and turns on the TV. And every 15 minutes, there's like another alert, like just sitting out watching TV. And I look at it to see, and I say, McCartney, what were you thinking? 3 o'clock. We're like, I didn't realize it was 3 o'clock. I just wanted to watch some YouTube. And all I could think about is not how McCartney's day is going to go, but their poor teacher. Like McCartney operating on like 3.5 hours less sleep and already tired from the day. I thought instantly, I'm already having to drive you like 30 minutes across town, then come back in the afternoon, which essentially shortens my work day. This is definitely going to be one of those days that McCartney goes to the nurse and the nurse is like, you need to come pick him up like in the middle of the day. And it was just infuriating, man. When you know your kid's day's off track and there's absolutely nothing you could do about it, terrible feeling. Terrible.
Yep. As the person that has to pick up the kids whenever, or, you know, if they forget something, drop it off at school, complete just shit showing. You're just waiting for the other.
Forgot their lunch. Son of a bitch. God. And that's the Cardi school doesn't even have, I had to take a lunch up there on Friday. Cardi school doesn't even have like a regular cafeteria. So if you forget the lunch, there's just no lunch. Like somebody's got to bring it. Like there is no cafeteria that you can send them to get a hot tray.
Fucking worst. I do love that you can like check in. I love modern technology. You just check in on your living room and just see who's there, see what the hell's going on, and be like, oh, that's why Cardi is exhausted. Yeah, exactly. I had to ask you guys, speaking of the gym and all that kind of stuff. So we had been debating this for a while. So AJ, we have in gymnastics right now, and it's perfect. Gets an hour worth of energy out of him. Still has about 1,000 other hours worth of energy every single Saturday. So we've been talking about potentially bringing him to the next step would be, if other than spring sports like a soccer or a baseball, maybe trying Taekwondo out. Had a birthday party there. Someone threw a birthday party he was invited to, went, loved it, and now we are signing him up for Taekwondo. Am I out of my fucking mind weaponizing this kid who has just been dominating my life for as soon as he was born, basically? Have any of you done Taekwondo? Like, have you had any of your kids do Taekwondo?
Yeah, Kelsey did jujitsu, and I think you're doing him a great service because And these kids that have more like propensity to be like a little not violent, but to be physical.
Yep.
Taekwondo usually will have teachers that teach them to like, we don't do that. We only do it for self-defense. And they are very good at instilling that type of discipline and knowing it. So I think a lot of kids that struggle with like boundaries learn a ton from martial arts.
Because that was what we were selling ourselves on was, the little pamphlet. It's like, they're going to learn this. They're going to learn how to, use their strengths. And it's like discipline and, regimented stuff. And we're like, all right, that sounds good. But I'm just going to have a kid that's going to be trying to, chop my head in half like it's a fucking wooden block or something like that. But it sounds like it's a little more that way.
Teaches adversity a lot, which kids need to know how to overcome for sure.
For sure.
When you get beat up a little bit, you got to deal with that, like Chris Rock.
Yeah, just slap someone in the face.
Yep.
I think it's almost always temporary. I very rarely see kids who stick with it. If your kid starts at whatever age, 3, 4, 5, 6, by the time he's 9 and starts to fall out, AJ, I think maybe there'll be a new class coming in. I think they're constantly, and then there's 1 or 2 kids who stick with it and they eventually become teachers. But like anything else, the whole experience is based on the teacher. We had Mick went to him for a while, then Finn went to him for a while. This guy Holmgren by us, fucking awesome. Holmgren Academy. The guy just had a great like sensibility to him, particularly with the kids and whatnot, and knew some of their weaknesses and all that kind of stuff. So he tailored the class around him, and it was a great experience. But one that I didn't expect the kids to follow through on, and they didn't. They did a couple of seasons of it, or whatever you'd call it, a couple of years of it rather, and then they just sort of. When you say that's kind of fair, chaps, that it's maybe a 3-year endeavor tops.
Yeah, I think Taekwondo very much so has that kind of gap. If like longer term jujitsu stuff, because you could just keep excelling and that right. And get a lot better and move on. But I would say, probably 3 years at the absolute most.
Yeah, I feel like I did it for probably 2 years. I did karate when I was a kid. What is it, like 4 belts? So 4 or 5 belts, whatever that is, a year or 2. Okay, fair enough. Large, what's going on in your neck of the woods?
I just changed the tire. On Annie's truck, she has like one of these big GMC Yukons or something like that. It's not like it used to be. I had to remove like a panel, then get in there with the jack in the panel and then winch down the spare tire. Like it's not like even there is so many moving parts to this. I was consulting the manual. I mean, I feel a little bit like a man.
And that just unbelievable.
See, that's yeah. And did it by myself. So it was so big win for me. In case you're wondering why I feel so why I look so alive, or maybe because I'm so manly with the Will Smith thing. It's because I just changed the tire by myself, and that's big for the big man. So
you do have a certain glow about you right now, my friend. Thanks. And there it is. You're just a little extra manly. Thank God the pollen hasn't started in the trees now, or else you'd be just coughing and sneezing your face off. So
it's 20. It's 20 this morning. Snowing last night. Right?
Snowing last night.
Snowing last night. It's fucking crazy.
It's unreal. However, looking at the weather report, looks like we're going to be getting into those 50s. Not quite a honey of a day yet. Honey of a day. What's our temperature for honey of a day? 65 or higher?
Yeah, I think 60 to 68. Anything over 68, it starts to get less honeyish for me.
Yeah, it's true. That's true. So luckily, spring is about to become an official thing up here in the Northeast. And with that, you have to get your lawn looking good. You don't want it to look like crap, because I'll tell you, sitting under that snow for like 2 months straight, it looks awful. Every yard looks terrible, not just mine, which makes me feel a little better. So if you want to get your yard looking good, you got to use Sunday. Sunday can help you grow a beautiful lawn without the guesswork or the nasty chemicals. Their custom plans include fertilizer and everything you need to easily care for your lawn with ingredients like seaweed, iron, and molasses. Not some bunch of fake chemical bull crap. It's all good stuff, and you can feel good with your kids and your pets around. Obviously, the Podfather, the Pod Fam, we got plenty of those. All you have to do is visit getsunday.com, put in your address, and their lawn analysis tool does the rest. It kind of, if you like go to like a Zillow, it kind of gives you like a map out of what your yard looks like, the like Google satellite things. Then they use soil and climate data to create a personal nutrient plan, some big wig science stuff. It makes you feel smarter just looking at it. They deliver it right to your door. You put it on the garden hose and spray. It takes less than 15 minutes, and the stuff really works. I've said it a million times. Wifey Clem is like, why is that part of the yard really green and that part of the yard isn't? It's because I didn't finish that part of the yard. I went inside after that. It was probably after about, say, 14 minutes, I decided to take a break, forgot to do the rest of it. And you could just tell which side had used Sunday, which side hasn't. So Sunday is offering our listeners 20% off. Full season plans start at just $129, and you can get 20% off at checkout when you visit getsunday.com/podfather20. That's 20% off your custom plan at getsunday.com/podfather20. I got an acre and a half here, whole lot to take care of, and it does the job for me, and they'll do the job for you. I absolutely love this stuff. We're going to get into some stories. You guys cool with that?
100%.
All right, let's rock and roll. First up, Northampton High School. This is in Massachusetts, I believe. We'll have an interim chief executive for several weeks, which I didn't realize they had chief executive high schools. Administrators probe what happened when the principal referred to students as asshats in internal communication. So this isn't, announced over the loudspeaker in the morning or emailed to everyone. Principal Lori Vaillancourt the comment by Principal Lori Vaillancourt came to light through a 267-page compilation of administrative messages. And once the parents heard about this, they obviously were pissed, and the students organized a walkout in protest.
Grow up,
fair
pussies.
or foul. There we go.
I mean, my God. Asshats. I mean, I would have you have those leaked. I would expect all of my kids to be called pieces of shit by one of their teachers at some point. I just think that the way, if it's internal, who cares? Like, as long as you're not approaching the kids and being like, you little assholes, you're a liar if you've said that you never called a little kid an asshole. We do it all the time on this show. Shout out Aunt Giovanni.
Fucking that motherfucking asshole, asshole, everything, head to toe. That's Aunt Giovanni. Hate this. If the kids are asshats, even if you are literally signaling out certain kids as asshats, I have absolutely no problem. Again, pro teacher podcast.
There's certain kids that are just assholes. It's true.
Yes, it's true. We are a pro teacher podcast, a pro principal podcast, pro education podcast. If you're watching my kids and keep them out of my hair and keep them out of trouble, you're 100% fine with me.
And in fact, I'd rather get the message from a teacher from time to time. Hey, just so you know, after PE today, McCartney was being kind of a dick. Like, that would be fine.
Yeah. It makes me want to stop doing the show because nobody's paying attention. Honestly, like, nobody's paying attention. This stuff, people are still getting fired for reading. What was the book? I Need a New Butt. Remember, like, this guy got fired, and then
assistant principal.
I'm so I get off my fucking lawn. It happens every time I fucking hear something like this. I just hate the way we are now. I fucking hate the way that we are, and I would think that. And believe me, the abuse that I had suffered at the hands of the Irish Christian Brothers, I would never wish that on my kids. But I know for a fucking fact that Finn is an asshat sometimes. I know for a fact that Bridget, I certainly know that their mother is. I'm never. Mick is sometimes one. Like, I just know for a fact that they are. And imagine you get a group of... it seems like it's such a fucking overreaction. I don't know.
High school. What high schooler isn't an asshole? Show me a teenager that's not an asshole, and I'll show you somebody's not a teenager.
I can't work anywhere anymore. Like, honestly, like, when the Barstool thing comes to an end, where the fuck can I go? Like where I won't be fired within minutes. Like, honestly, like, where
think
the
a
fuck
large
can I go?
please.
Yeah, I can't go anywhere anymore. Everything's fucking ruined. So I don't know. We find something like this once a week, and it always just makes me like sigh. This is one of those sighing type things, and it makes me wish that maybe Thanos was right.
And the worst part in this entire system with this guy or this woman getting fired. Imagine how difficult it would be to find a comparable position. Like, call the kids asshats. Like, her career is done because of an internal memo. And I would understand if it was something more egregious, like if you're calling something a racial slur, if you're like even body shaming, like if you're like, look, these fucking fat ass kids in the cafeteria. Like, if you said something like that, that was an attack on who they are. But asshole, anybody can have that adjective attached to them. Like, you just can't.
No, 100%.
Asshat is like the nicer way of asshole too.
Like, calling somebody a jabroni.
Yeah, exactly. Like you said, chaps, every single kid in that high school is an asshat at one point of the day or another.
Every kid on earth, dude. Like
yes.
every person is an asshat
yes.
at some point.
Cosign, big time cosign. All right, so I'm happy to see we're all lockstep on that one. The next one,
I rebuke the entire town of Northampton.
Whoa.
The whole lot of them. Fuck them.
I wonder. I guarantee. Oh, now what if? Because this is Massachusetts. I know.
I don't care. I understand the consequences of my action. The entire town rebuked.
What if I tell you that Vindog's from Northampton?
Well,
do you want to get into that war? Do you want to get into that battle?
Move.
Yeah, do something about it.
Right?
Be the change you want to see in the world. Yep.
A former educator.
You're telling me Vindog never in an email from shop class never told somebody that one of the kids was being an asshole? Come on.
1,000%. 1,000. You're right. You're
telling me somebody in shop class never tried to practice unsafety techniques with a bandsaw? Oh, Vindog's calling them an asshat in a heartbeat.
100%.
Fair point. Next one up, kind of talking about the fat kids in school. Going to lead to more of this, I think, with this story here. Applebee's has announced that it will add a drive-through window to at least 15 of its locations by the end of the year. Obviously, it's known as a sit-down restaurant. However, they had a 27% increase over the past 2 years with all the COVID nonsense going on. So now they're going to start off a limited test run of 15 restaurants. And if it is profitable, there's a chance that out of the chains, more than 1,600 restaurants could end up with a drive-through at some point. Buying or selling Applebee's putting a drive-through, or which chain restaurant would you like to see have a drive-through? Large, you're upset or you're fired up about something. I give the floor to you.
Sold. I could not. Applebee's, the fact that it has 16,000 locations.
1,600.
1,600. I'm sorry. 1,600 is even, so it's not that bad. And they don't own one single oven. It's just 50 microwaves and 30 boiling pots of water, and people are fucking, here's your beeper, wait online to get this fucking glorified hospital food. Again, you know what, I'm moving. Fuck it. Where can I go? You know, fuck this story. Where can I? Do I go to Norway? Where do I go? Finland? Chaps, tell me.
You're not going to Norway or Finland. I don't think that you're going to survive on a diet of fucking fermented whale blubber. Like, that's not.
Tell me where I go. Where can I go where I can call a kid an asshat and people want to go to a diner more so than they want to go to fucking Apple.
You got to go to Nicky the Good's old country. I think you got to head over to Italy. I feel like
you got to go to Italy. You got to, I should be in Positano.
Get down with
I'm going to fucking Positano. Gonna have like a cable knit scarf, be riding, make my own limoncello. Fuck this place. Yeah, I mean, Applebee's, I wouldn't go to the restaurant. I'm not gonna go through the drive-through. If you want to have a place that maybe has a drive-through, I would think that Chipotle might be the one. You know, because then they would take some of. Oh, do they? I didn't know.
Yeah. I just heard about that for the first time.
How about now, fellas? If we're talking this type of quality restaurant, I wouldn't mind the Outback just cruising on through and getting blooming onion every now and then.
So, Chapsy, I thought about this. What would you think if they could maybe cut the blooming onion for you so you could just easily take, because you'd be ripping it apart if you're driving, but just being able to clip a couple of those blooming onions right off, pop them in your mouth? Sounds pretty good.
Would the blooming onion travel well?
No.
Chaps?
No, it wouldn't,
right?
Nothing from Applebee's travels well. Nothing.
Nikki and I go to the same place for for squares, Sicilians, slices. We go to the same place, Victoria Pizzeria. I'm telling you, I was there. I had them make me the fried calamari on top of a fucking Sicilian, and it was beautiful. It was beautiful. And I had a piece while I was there. Then I closed the box. I went 3 minutes, Nick, from Victoria's to Whitney Avenue, 3 minutes, and it turned to fucking shit, like a fishy lob. And I think that would be the same thing with an what was it? What's
Bloomin'
the place?
Onion?
Yeah, the blooming onion. That thing has to go into a lop of oniony shit in fucking mere seconds, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I mean, that's one aspect of the whole Uber Eats. I'd spend entirely too much money on delivery for food. That being said, these people have got, why are we doing styrofoam, guys? What are we doing here? Every time you put a burger in styrofoam, it's just going to turn into sloppy soup French fries. It's gotten so bad where I think I might have to be out on doing Uber Eats and things like that. It's just not, the juice isn't worth the squeeze anymore.
100%. Every one of those fucking people puts their hand in your bag. And if you don't believe that, you're a fucking moron. Every one of them has a fry. And I don't know where their fucking hands are. I've been in a couple of cars. The cars stink.
Well, a lot of them are taped now, Large. You think they're getting around the taping?
Absolutely. They're doing this, boom, and then their mouths are full. Bullshit. Every one of them has had
they all got those little
nugget.
steamers that they're getting a sticker off and getting my waffle fry from Chick-fil-A like a bunch of pieces of shit.
Food is exponentially better when you sit. Chinese food is exponentially better when you sit down, but there's almost like a nostalgia for that, like to have it delivered. Chinese food, pizza. You sit down in the pizza parlor on that Formica table, and you get a fountain Coke, and you pizza right out of the oven. I don't care what pizza parlor you go to; it's exponentially better. And we're just becoming this thing where everyone wants to put them in these clamshells and just steam the shit out of them for a half hour while they're delivering to every fucking person on your block.
That being said, I do hate going to restaurants now. Like I don't like just going out. Yeah. I don't know if COVID affected it and like not going out for so long. I just gotten used to it. But now when my wife is like, let's get the kids and go out for a Friday night, get a reservation somewhere. I just like, that just seems like a lot of hassle. Like, we got to drive. I got to sit there, got to watch them play on their phone or something or talk to them. It just seems awful.
What about takeout? You go, you sit at the bar, you have a drink, and then when the food's done, you take it home. That's sort of almost the middle ground, right?
I just like being home. Like, I just like enough. Being here. And if my family pisses me off, I come down to my office and watch basketball for a little while or something and go up 20 minutes later. Just overall, like, I just feel like I'm done doing a lot of stuff. I just have no desire to do it. But I am going boxing with you, which I'm excited.
Yes. Yeah. But so 2 weeks of San Antonio, Ryan Garcia versus Emmanuel Tego, a lightweight battle. Fucking Ryan Garcia, 15-month layoff. He's back with the hottest boxers in the world, fighting a guy out of Accra, Ghana. And I'm going to be ringside with none other than Chaps down in San Antonio in the Alamo Dome. I'm not promising ringside, but I'm promising probably first 5 rows.
There we go. Love that.
Yeah.
Shout out the 13th round right there, baby. Blowing up, doing big things, Yeah. I would say also this feels like Applebee's and Chili's and all those other kind of restaurants, they now become more of the fast. I wonder if it will help sit down restaurants and the mom and pop stores, or if it just is going to be even worse for them that you could get all these things without even having to leave your car. Because I feel like as Americans, it's just we're getting closer and closer to being the people from Wall-E. Remember in Wall-E when
yes,
like they were just always in our chairs, just driving around. That's what I feel like we're evolving towards.
I have a question. Clem, if I come out and have a meal with you, you have a place that has the greatest burger. Yes, and we also have that place. Yeah. And we also have the place, the Wooden Spoon, that we have to go to. Yep. So there's 2 definitive places I need to go to north of the wall. If you come down by me, I have a couple of places I could take to you to. Chaps, we're going to have a meal next week. Mm-hmm. I don't eat fucking blooming onions.
Yeah.
And I'm not paying.
Okay, I'll pay.
Where are we going? Because I want to talk about it now, because then we're going to do, we'll recap it afterwards, right?
Well, it depends. Like, do you want to get a good old-fashioned Texas steak, or do you want to get, like, there's a spot that has Texas antelope or deer sometimes. I'll have venison. That's, I think it still has a Michelin star. It was given one a while ago. It was a Beard Award winner, too. Really? So down here, and that food is fantastic. So that's probably my favorite restaurant. And there's also, it's tough because when somebody comes from New York City area, like you get access, like for me, one of the best restaurants here is like a Spanish place that has tapas, but they fly in octopus from Spain, like to have their octopus ceviche. And I think it's fantastic, but it's probably something that you could get in New York easily. So that's a tough thing.
But I tell you, when you say Texas steak, and I think of like John Candy trying to break through the old 99er or something like that turns me on a little bit. So let's maybe go down that road. A couple of
I'll find a place we'll get a big steak from somewhere, a big Texas size steak.
First one comes from Hebrew Hammer. He's a listener here, and we've talked about this in the past, but I always like to bring it back up for new listeners or people that are going through this and didn't hear the answer the first time. Been listening to the show since I found out I was having a kid. 2 questions. One, I have I have under a month until my daughter is born. What should I do one last time? That's the first question right there. So one thing you should do one last time before you have a kid that changes your entire life and turns it upside down, to borrow a phrase from the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air.
I think go to Applebee's and get you something from the drive-thru would be fantastic.
Yes. Yes. Large.
It caught me on my heels a little bit. Yeah, because it's too late to travel. He's only got a month out, right? So what do you got to do?
I mean, me and Large are just struggling to think of what you could do before you had a kid. Like it's been terrible. So long. Like I don't fucking know, dude. It's been.
I mean, I guess
for me, 17 years since I was in that position.
Right. So we go. We just talked about 3G, right? And we talk about what's the worst part about having kids. If you don't have money problems or anything like that, which I know some, but I usually say the sleep deprivation. Right. Mm-hmm. So maybe get yourself in like, a nice little battery of naps and say, hey, I want to get back to that. I want to get back to whatever it's going to be, April of 2022 in a couple of years where I can actually do naps because that shit's over. So maybe just
enjoy
catch up on
quiet.
Yeah.
Sit in a nice chair with the air conditioner down just a little bit lower than you normally like. So you could put a little lap blanket or a throw blanket over your legs. Have a nice book and just sit there with the glass of whiskey responsibly with a 10 milligram additive of 3Chi entered into the glass of whiskey and just read your favorite book that's about ships and shit like that.
Naked. Walk around naked, right?
Not because in a leather chair. No, I don't agree
true.
with that.
I kind of like it.
You went a little ripping. Far. You went too far.
The ripping when you get out. But, when your daughter's born and stuff like that, you're probably going to be a little less naked. So do it all fucking nude.
Yeah.
Get to the go to your favorite restaurant, go to the movies if you like the movies. It really depends on what you like to do. If you like to go to like a fucking sports game, just basically anything out of the house. You are basically landlocked into your house for the foreseeable future, and you're going to be so fucking tired when you don't have to stay home. You're going to want to stay home. Just get the fuck out. Go to, like a Chapsy said, go to Applebee's, and you know what? Splurge and eat in. Give that waitress a little 25% tip for taking care of you. You don't have to worry about getting the drive-thru, but just get the fuck out of your house because you are going to be stuck there. And then if a pandemic happens, you're going to be stuck in the house with 2 kids during the whole. I'm starting to relay my personal life onto the podcast, so I wouldn't do that as much.
There's a nuance in there, by the way, too. And I like Hebrew Hammer, but he's like, what should I do? One last time. He doesn't say, what should we do? Like, he's like, she's on her own. So, I mean, you could say get in 18 holes, 3 weeks in a row or something like that. He's like, what should I do? Hebrew Hammer knows self-preservation. She's fucked. He's like, I'm sorry. It's like Rose on the door. Sorry, Jack. Let's fucking Leo go into the icy water.
And that's an email that we should have gotten like 6 months ago, honestly.
Yeah.
Like you're fucked now. You can't go. It's not like you can't go. You can't even go get super drunk because you're in the window where you might have to take her to the hospital.
That's true.
Your options are limited, my friend.
Yeah, I think he sent this email like a week ago too, so he might already have the baby for all I know. So hopefully, Hebrew, you got this in time. Golf is a good call, Large. I didn't think about that. I'm not a golfer, but that's something that definitely gets eaten up. One of the first things I would imagine. And then the second one, we've gotten this a bunch, but what are items that are good to bring to the hospital that aren't obvious? And again, so for people that are having kids, just found out they're having kids, they always ask which Podfathers they should listen to. The first 3 we ever did was Me, Chaps, and KFC, or we kind of redid those first 3 episodes in the first 3 episodes of 2020 between Me, Chaps, and Large.
And then I left like promptly 3 weeks later.
Exactly. And then just the year of the Podfathers became the year of the 2 Podfathers. But those are good ways to start. We might have answered this in there, but anything that strikes you guys right away right now that like isn't, a go bag, which if Hebrew Hammer doesn't have a go bag pack, you have fucked up, my friend. You haven't read the books because they all tell you to get that go bag packed. Chargers, iPad, all that kind of nonsense. Is there anything in particular that you guys have had or stories you have heard that you thought was a good thing?
The little cup of ice that they give your spouse or your partner whenever she's going to have a baby. Just take that little cup of ice that she could chew on and one of those 10 milligram packs of 3Chi, just sprinkle that on there and make her experience so much better. Yeah.
I think it was maybe Finn was born, and the guy my mother-in-law was dating at the time, she dated a gentleman named Carlos for a long time. and he showed up after the baby was born. The whole family was in the room, and he had C-section. She was a little bit laid out. Finn was in there, the whole deal. He shows up with a deli tray of sandwiches, like from a bagel store or something like that. You know what I mean? Where they whack it up and it's like
move, man.
4 different sandwiches, and he puts them in. Chaps, I think it might have been from Subway. And like, so my Brooklyn brother, oh, fucking Subway, oh, case of each, like that, you know, no,
got some gabagool.
yeah, Jimmy Zeros. He puts it down. I'm telling you, as people came in, they ravaged this fucking thing.
You don't expect a sub sandwich there and one shows up, you're fucking over the moon.
Even the tuna. I think the tuna. Yeah.
I love
and the
that.
nurse brought
Where
in
we at
like
on alfalfa sprouts.
The nurse brought in a little box filled with those short cans of ginger ale that they have at the fucking.
Yeah, shorty, yeah.
So she brought those in. Everybody tore ass into a tiny little fucking ginger ale and ate, like, I think it was a Subway or one of those fucking places, Blimpie or Potbelly, something. And I was like, what a wild thing to bring. Wiped out, 100% fucking wiped out. So I know he's not going to bring that with him, but it's an idea, you know.
You can also bring table cakes to the hospital. Just a big old stack of 50 flapjacks for the squad.
If there's anything your wife has wanted to eat that she couldn't eat because she was pregnant, that doesn't, you know, if it's hot,
deli sandwiches, honestly.
But yeah, my wife, all she wanted was a fucking turkey sandwich. That's all she could think about during those last few months of pregnancy. Put in the refrigerator, and she said it was the best sandwich she ever had in her life after she popped out Sienna. And you know, that's one of those things that you wouldn't think of off the bat, but from someone that's been through it, I like that story, Large. That's a good one.
Sandwiches is much better, and because so many other women will be craving sushi. You bring a tray of sushi into the hospital, you look like an absolute psychopath.
Oh man, if they let you into a hospital with a tray of fucking sushi, they should shut that hospital
for
down.
The anesthesiologist.
By the way, Annie was nauseous. Like Annie wasn't doing well with the anesthesia, so she couldn't even eat. So I think like at one point my brothers were like resting their sandwiches on her feet. You know what I mean? Like, hey, try not to move, sweetheart. As they're going to get another ginger ale. It's a great memory.
And then if you're like someone like me that stays around your wife after she gives birth, unlike someone like Large who just went home and slept in his own bed, drank wine, swam in the neighbor's pool because they were on vacation, I would recommend, you know, if you want to bring your own pillow or a blanket or something, because they are, especially if you're a bigger guy, it's not big guy friendly. So anything
home.
help you make a
go home. Just fucking go home.
What about one of those? What about one of those hammocks that you can go into the hallway and like swing it around and it's full of air? You know what I'm talking about?
You got to bring the air into it. Like,
just go out in the hallway, start sloshing that thing around, and then bring it in there and get all cozy.
Chapsy, have you seen the hammock chair that they have for sale at Costco? It's almost like one of those. It's like those little foldable chairs that have become huge, but it has like a hammock aspect where you can just swing on it.
Zero gravity, right?
Ooh, no, it's different than the zero gravity. Chapsy. Next time you're there, they usually have them out for display. You can rock on that for a little bit, buddy. You ain't getting up without picking one up and throwing it in your cart. It is heavenly. I think $50 too. Not a bad price.
Go over there right now. Right when we're done, I might go pick one up.
Yep. Big guy friendly as well. So Large, we can sit on it without having to worry about breaking it, which is always the biggest problem with foldable chairs.
Put it in my shed. I ain't building shit. So
Rio Brands swinging hammock chair. It's $54.99 at Costco. I would if I ever got
how many stars?
We should do a Costco find of the week.
4.4 stars out of 5.
That's pretty good.
Drink holder, foam pillow. Foam pillow looks a little sus. Compact and portable. Weight capacity 300 pounds, and the weight of the chair is only 13.
That's pretty good. I'm good.
Okay.
I'm solid. I weighed in at 195 today.
Oh, you son of a bitch.
So one of these right next to the solo stove.
After a little trip out on the electric bike.
Oh my God. I fucking love it.
Hey, no free ads. We'll deal with them. We'll see if they're coming back next week. So listen, we'll see you guys then. As always, stay safe and stay sane out there.